We will call to order a special meeting of the Saline Area School Board of Education. I invite you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our special meeting is to fill the board vacancy, which should go quickly here, and then we will move on to the regular meeting. For the appointment of the new board member, the chair makes a motion to approve the appointment of Heidi Faunus for the open board trustee position. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those.
Other than I'm excited.
I think we have to do a recorded vote on this. So, Trustee Freese,
Aye.
Vice President Heft,
Yes.
President Holden, aye. Secretary Heineck.
Aye.
The motion carries, and Heidi Faunus, congratulations. We will now swear in the new board member. Okay.
Whatever.
I, Elizabeth Faunus,
I, Elizabeth Faunus,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and the Constitution of the State of Michigan,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of member of the Board of Education of Saline Area Schools,
of member of the Board of Education, Saline Area Schools,
Washtenaw County, Michigan,
Washtenaw County, Michigan,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The chair will make a motion to adjourn the special meeting. Do we have a second?
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll call to order the regular Board of Education meeting for Tuesday, June 10th, 2014. This is the point of the meeting where members of the audience can address the board for up to 3 minutes. Is there any members of the audience who wish to address the board this evening? Okay, Superintendent Graydon.
Just a couple of quick updates. One is that we conducted our school choice lottery on Monday, and we have offered slots of 66 slots, 55 of those which are kindergarten slots, and then we had about 178 official applicants through the school choice process. The people who were offered slots have until June 27th to enroll with Saline Area Schools. Following that date, we'll fill slots off the wait list as needed. So we kind of move through that process. We continue to have a lot of interest in Saline Area Schools, and I think that's a positive. However, we are maintaining our ratio relative to our policy around 10%, so we continue to do that. And lastly, I'd just like to thank the students, the staff, and the community. We've had a strong school year, and tomorrow is our last day. I know we had to extend a few days into this week because of the winter, but again, it's been a great school year, and I appreciate all the hard work on the part of not only the students and the staff, but also the parents and families of our community. So, thank you.
Okay. Anything from board members?
I'd like to thank everyone who put on the graduation ceremonies last week. It was an excellent, as usual, ceremony. Good speaker. And I'd like to echo Mr. Graydon's comments about a good school year. It was, I don't want to say smooth sailing all the way through, but it was a good year.
Okay. I'm going to recognize our
Yep.
retirees at this point.
Yep. Do you want to approve the agenda?
Oh, I'm sorry. Recommended motion to approve the agenda as printed. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Katie, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now, we'd love to recognize, I know we have a few of the retirees here. We also had an opportunity prior on June the 5th to honor them, and I know some of them are being honored at their local, at their buildings or at the department level. And you know, this year, really for the second consecutive year, we've had some staff members that are choosing to take the opportunity to retire, and as Mr. Raff said today, you know, join the ranks of the sleeping in, travel when you want, work out when you want, go to weddings, do the things you want to do, and that's great, and we're appreciative of that opportunity for them, but also want to thank them for their years of service to Saline area schools and the Saline community. It's you know, the pursuit of being an educator is something that you know, we're often kind of called to, and the people who are here tonight really served our community well, whether it be in the food service department, in the offices, and in the classroom. So thank you for coming tonight, and Assistant Superintendent Ellis has something he wants to say.
Yeah, again, to echo what we said at the retirement reception, on behalf of the Saline Area School District, we'd sincerely like to thank you for your service. As Superintendent Graydon said, you've brought much to the district through the years, and while the job can at times be an occupation, for the three of you, it's also been a vocation. It's been something where you've made tremendous contributions. We have with us tonight Mary Gearboff from Food Service, along with her husband. We have Eileen Owen from the high school with her husband, and we have John Mason, who's been in the music program for quite some time and made a tremendous contribution there. What I'd like to do at this point is read a poem that we read at the retiree reception, and I think this speaks well for this group. They'll each receive a copy of this, but I wanted to share it with the group. The poem's called The Builder. And the poem says, I once saw a group of men tearing a building down, a group of men in my hometown. With a heave and a hoe and a mighty yell, they swung the beam and the sidewall fell. I asked the men, are these men skilled, the kind I'd hire if I wanted to build? He laughed and said, why no indeed, common labor is all I need. For I can tear down in a day or two what it took the builder 10 years to do. So I thought to myself as I walked away, which of these roles am I going to play? Am I going to tear down as I make my way merrily around, or am I going to build with care, with the hope that the people will be glad I was there? And as we said to you three at the retirement reception, we are sincerely glad you were here. From the bottom of our hearts, on behalf of Saline Area Schools, thank you so much for your service, and we wish you nothing but the best. We hope you all stay very, very close to us in the coming years, but thank you very, very much.
Okay, we have a few action items this evening. The first is a recommended motion to renew membership in the Michigan Association of School Boards for 2014-15. So moved. Chief, do you have a second? Support. And Paul. Do you have anything to add to that?
Just, you know, obviously we've been a member of MASB for a very, very long time. They continue to provide, you know, valuable resources for us in terms of opportunities for training and among other things. And in addition, it's a strong organization for us to be able to talk to about legislative advocacy, which is certainly always in need as well.
Questions or comments from board members? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt the MHSAA membership resolution for 2014-15 as outlined by Superintendent Graydon. Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Freeze, and a second from Trustee Fanas. And that,
Another straightforward one, the Michigan High School Athletic Association is the governing body for the majority of the athletic activities that we participate in when we compete in their state tournaments as well. And we have a team competing in one right now. So
that's right. And Patty's going to give us score updates.
yeah.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the tentative agreement with the Pittsfield Township Department of Public Safety to provide a school resource officer at Saline High School.
So moved.
Paul, and do we have a second?
Second.
And the chief.
This is the second 3-year agreement. As you know, 3 years ago we entered into the realm of having a school resource officer at Saline High School. We are indicating we'd like to continue that. The contract is the same contract in terms of 50% of the salary associated with the officer itself. We're in the process of seeking and selecting a new officer for the new contract. We'll hope to have that person in place shortly. I don't know if Principal Halber's still here. They were going to, Principal Halber and I believe Assistant Principal Schluter were going to be involved in that interview process. We continue to partner with Chief Harshberger and Deputy Chief Schick on this position and find that it does provide a value to the community and to the school building and to the student population. This is an officer that can establish relationships with students as well as provide a level of security and assurity that we would love to have for all of our students.
So the candidates all come from the Pittsfield?
Yep, Pittsfield, yep, an internal posting, yep,
Okay.
and they would be interviewing directly from that pool.
And it's my understanding that the price is the same?
It's the price same relative to the officer. The officer who comes in is
Follows their collective bargaining
Right,
unit.
correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And so, kind of to play off that, we pay that fee. The officer is assigned to the district during the school year. During the summertime, they are assigned to the road, so they do go back on the road. Make sure that's for it.
Any other questions or comments from board members? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Chair will entertain a motion to approve the revisions to policies 8040, school admissions, and 8920, foreign exchange students, as submitted by the policy committee. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Trustee Freeze, and a second?
Support.
Trustee Fanis.
The two policies, I'll start with 8040 school admissions. If you go to the second page, 8042, the items that are in red indicate we clarify the process with a student enrolling on a release or on a tuition basis. And it's, will be subject to the determination of the superintendent based on space availability, available timelines, and in consideration of resident student enrollment. It also clarifies that release and tuition students are considered non-resident students for the purpose of the 10% enrollment cap. So again, we continue to operate within that 10% enrollment cap. Last year, there was the wording in this area was unclear relative to the role of the superintendent and the role of the board as it related to students who were wanted to enroll via release or via tuition. This clarifies that as consistent with the previous practice of the district. And then 8920, student exchange, foreign exchange student policy, we've added organizations that we would like to work with. So we've had interest from these groups. These are groups that are working with other school districts and have been vetted and we feel are appropriate for us to entertain and work with. So we've added those to policy 8920 per the request of the high school administration.
Any questions or comments from board members? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion items. We have two discussion items tonight. Secretary Heineck will update us on the budget committee.
Budget committee met 2 weeks, week ago Monday, and we had, I'll go over one thing here, is the proposals by the governor, the Senate, and the House. And Janice told me this afternoon that there was another consensus number that's come out, and even in an election year, not one of these is very good news for the district. They're all playing what I call funny money with the MIPSers money, where that's the deal where they give us the money and we pay it back, but it costs us money to money launder their money for them. So those kinds of things. I guess the House version is the best. We did brackets. The Senate version is the best, where it came up only slightly short, and we budgeted a reduction of 20 students. So I think by the end of June, the state usually tries to get consensus on their money, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks they'll dig a little deeper and be a little more generous. So we also discussed we've been having a little bit of discussion about possibly having a bond next year, so we went through our current bond portfolio, what we owe, and when those monies are due, and talked about some scenarios. So Janice can better describe the bonding than I can.
We have two bonds out right now. We have the 2002 bond, which we refunded in 2012, and the total of that is $83,770,000. And then we have the 2004 debt fund, which has a balance of $2,735,000, and that will actually be paid off in the 14-15 school year. Then we have the school bond loan fund balance of a little over $31 million. Starting this year, we had to recalculate and make sure we could pay that school bond loan fund off within the mandatory period, and we can. If we would not have been able to, we would have had to increase our debt millage. And some of the neighboring districts are running into that. But ours is scheduled to be paid off in 2025, which is 9 years prior, or 11 years actually, prior to the mandatory payoff date. And then I said the 2004 debt fund will be paid off this coming year, and the 2002 debt fund will be paid off in 2036. So, which I think is about 6 years ahead of what had originally been scheduled.
So we talked about I guess there's some newer items out on the market where you can not add to the length of your current bonding and do some blended things to not, just kick the can down the road, as we used to call it, and do some
But
things.
you could match qualified, non-qualified bond opportunities together to try and look at different ways to factor in whether or not you wanted some short-term, short revenue that would be potentially paid off in the short term in a little bit different method, or you could do qualified, which kind of goes into the capped environment of the 7 mills, and would extend bond, and you could do one, the other, or blending based on a variety of things. I know Heidi, you've got some experience in that area.
So we will be meeting again on the 17th. I think I told you the wrong
Yep.
date. Yep.
And just on the school aid front, I've had multiple conversations with Representative Zemke today. I've also made calls into legislators to voice our disagreement with the way the trend is right now in terms of the funding. Because we're targeted to get about $83 per student. Under the current format, it's down to 50. And if Ann Arbor was getting 50, and we're getting 50, and they got a foundation right here, and we got a foundation right here, we're getting the short end of the stick on that deal. He'd indicated that he was going to try to stop by this evening and keep us up to date. I know Superintendent Graydon has also had conversations today with on multiple fronts. So we're advocating for the district, and that and we're hoping that we can sway enough legislators off that position. I'd also like to recognize State Representative Gretchen Driscoll, who's
I can speak to this. So
sure. Come on up. Take as much time as you want.
I'm not going to take a lot of time. This is not a lot to talk about. Adam's on his way. We just got out of session. You are correct. I have actually been talking to Chelsea because they're even worse off than you are because they will get less in their performance. So it's a rather difficult situation. Adam's hopeful that the vote might not go through on the House, that there's enough people that are opposed to it. So that will be decided tomorrow. We were supposed to vote today and we didn't, which means that they might not have the vote. So that's a good thing. But it is a difficult problem that we have. The recommended per pupil for Saline is $50 per pupil. And so obviously that's going to be a problem. That's not what you guys were programming. And it's a difficult, I talked to Scott this afternoon. I've been mostly talking with Chelsea because they're actually in the worst situation of all my school districts. And it's a difficult situation for me as a representative because I do have a range of schools that are in relatively good financial shape to actually some really bad, on the edge of financial deficit, the deficit program. So I don't know how I'm going to vote yet. I'm hoping to not have to stay off the board, and hopefully we do have a majority that made a recommendation, and this is the recommendation. So if they have the votes, then it's going to happen. So then I'm in the position of not voting for funding some of the schools that really need it. So I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that I'm very much aware that this is very difficult. There's actually about $300 per pupil that has been accessed for people around the state, for a total of pupils around the state. That's been accessed from the school aid fund, taken to use in the general fund for higher ed, MIPSR, some other stuff. So it's about a $485 million shift. So we have the school aid fund and we have the general fund, and they're being sort of mushed together a little bit, which is causing a problem in my mind. And I'm also on the transportation committee. I voted against the House version of the transportation funding bill. It's a $400 million take out of the general fund. So, that's money we could be using in the school aid fund. So at the end of the day, we have a certain amount of money, and I believe that we're not using it properly. So hopefully we're going to have a different program coming out for road funding this week that would really properly address it, somehow using the actual transportation fund monies and addressing that. So I don't know if you have any questions. I know Adam said he was going to try to come, but the vote is supposed to happen tomorrow. So, and it has never not, once it's come out of conference committee, it's never not been approved. So this would be the first time ever. So we'll see. But we are fighting for you. But once usually it comes out of conference committee, this is the program that is usually moves forward. So it would be very unusual to not. So
I
Adam,
think
did you guys have any questions?
The Saline position is pretty clear. During the winter time with the cold weather, we incurred about $400,000 in additional utility expense. And we just don't have the slack in our budget to absorb that. So that blows a hole there. So at $83, that basically recoups that and nothing else. So it puts us at, basically at scratch. And if we drop to 50, then that gets about $250,000. And we still haven't made up that $400,000 that we've had to spend on extra utility cost. So we would encourage you to put on your blue and gold.
I
For
worry every
Saline.
day. It's not just Saline; it's all my school districts. All my school districts have the same problem. These were not the numbers that I would like to see. I have been an advocate of funding public education more fully all along. This is a budget that's presented, and I'm in the minority party. So until there's more money in the budget, and so I will just tell you that I'm really struggling with how I'm going to end up having to vote on this, because if it does get voted, if I vote no, I'm voting against doing any additional funding. So it's a very difficult situation that I'm in, and so that was one of the reasons I want to talk to you tonight, because I don't know. Usually when it gets pushed off a day, they usually find the votes to make it pass. So I would, Adam's feeling very positive, and hopefully he'll get here in time before your meeting ends. But I'm not so positive. So. And Mr. Holden, I definitely appreciate, as you know, I represent multiple districts around this county, and they all have the same situation. We're really struggling, and if there's anything that I could do to be helping the situation, I believe in funding our schools more.
Yeah, I think we, or at least I do, I have a little source of frustration in that we feel we're doing the right things in managing our money, that we're doing it prudently. But when you have an act of God that blows $400,000 in our budget, we can't do anything about that. We've asked our bargaining units to do things and continue to do that, and they've stepped up to the plate in that regard. And now it appears they come up with this formula that we almost get the sense that we're punished for doing the right things.
Well, as I suggested to the superintendent, and I have suggested to other superintendents, to definitely talk to people in the majority party and express your frustration. I've done that, but at the end of the day, we have the same situation actually with road funding. Very similar scenario. It's there's the act of God issue where the roads are a lot worse because of, but we're still I think we're closer on having a resolution this week. But again, I'm not a terribly optimistic person these days. I hate to say that. But I'm hoping for the best, and if this does, not pass the House tomorrow, that would be a very good thing, and hopefully we can go, get the folks. I'm not on education funding, so basically what happens is the House has a version, the Senate has a version, they go in a conference committee, and then they come out with a proposal. This is the proposal, and we can vote yes or no. That's all I get. So, as you can imagine, having 3 alumni from the Saline Public Schools, I know this is an awesome school system. I'm very proud to have young children that came from the school system. So very, very distressing for me. So we'll keep plugging away. So thank you.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
efforts.
We were going to have a policy committee update, but are you going to handle that for
Yeah.
trustee Galvay?
Yeah, she asked me to speak to it. We do have a policy meeting coming up on Monday. We may adjourn that meeting depending on whether or not we have a closed session that evening and we reschedule it later. We do have a couple of policies coming down the pike we want to make adjustments to. We have recommendations, but nothing formal at this time.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to authorize items A through D as part of the consent agenda.
I move that we authorize the following, A, B, C, and D for the consent agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Items scheduled on the next agenda. We will have a budget hearing, which we're required to do prior to the regular meeting. So at 6 o'clock, we'll have the budget hearing along with the budget adoption.
We intend to adopt the budget.
And that could be throwing darts at a dartboard if we don't have the final number in that, but we'll endeavor to do the best we can in that area. Anything else we need to cover?
I'd also like to do an update from the social emotional group that's been meeting. So
Yep.
I know they had a meeting last night, and we'd like to give an update from them at that meeting.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit with some help from my friends.
Okay.
I just made some notes. So we met yesterday, and our goal is to, by 2015, the fall of 2015, to come up with a program that will support parents in the community toward developing healthy, happy future citizens. And in that respect, we hope to have programs from K to 8 that will just support the kids and the parents in developing happy and healthy children. We're looking to the social workers and the principals and teachers to help us identify what sort of behaviors we want to support, what kind of information and programs we want to put forward. So it's a beginning step. It's, I think, our 3rd meeting. Second meeting? Okay. So, Mr. Latch?
Yeah, I mean, I can just add on to that, the idea is that we really need to get started earlier with our parent base when they're first coming into the district, kindergarten parents, 1st grade, and then start building what are the qualities that we want to really be enforcing with our parents that are important that they know about social emotional wellness, and start that at a young age, and then translate that into the student body. We also spoke a lot about public service announcements for our kids going on in the buildings throughout the day, morning announcements in the cafeteria, lots of visuals in the halls, so that we're walking this talk all the time, and that it just becomes something that we do all the time in the district, because we all agree that we can't wait till the students and parents are in middle school before we really start getting at this. And so we spoke a lot about parent education and how to educate large groups of parents, not just when we have a meeting here like we did the other night with David Cook, where we get 25 or 30 parents, but ways when we have a lot of parents in the building at once, figuring out ways to work through some of that curriculum with the parents at those times. So we're working on it. We think we have a plan that will start to develop that, but we need time to develop it. We won't be ready to do that in the fall with open houses and other events.
This is the second opportunity for a member of the public to address the board for up to 3 minutes. Are there any members of the audience who wish to address the board this evening? Okay, the next Board of Education meeting will be held on June 24th, 2014 at 6:30 right here at Liberty. And with that, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Secretary Heineck and Vice President Happ. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're done.